Hello everyone and welcome back to Heretics and Heroes. Today we're going to be talking about miniature photography. Tell me if this has ever happened to you. You just got done painting a mini and you think it looks great. So you want to take some pictures, share it with your friends, maybe post it on the internet somewhere. You go, you take a picture, you look at it, and you think, wow, this looks horrible. Am I a bad painter? Is this what my minis really look like? The answer is no, you probably just took a bad photo. And that's what we're here to solve today. I'm going to show you how you can take great photos of your minis without any special expensive equipment. In fact, you probably already have everything we're going to need. The first thing we need is a backdrop. A sheet of white computer paper works perfect. We'll need our smartphone. And perhaps most importantly, a light source. And of course, we'll also need something to photograph, like this Cadian Castellan. In my opinion, the most important piece of equipment you'll be using for your photography is your light source. I have here this painting lamp, which is a nice wide LED light. What's great about that wide light is it can flood the entire area in light from multiple directions. That way we're not getting any harsh shadows on the model or behind it. Having enough light and diffuse enough light to not cast shadows is really, really important. You want to be able to see the shading and highlighting that you painted onto the model, not shadows and highlights that are being cast onto it from the ambient lighting. If you don't already have one of these wide painting lamps, you can also achieve the same effect with two standard desk lamps placed on either side of the model and angled 45 degrees towards it. If you're going this route, get some daylight balanced LED bulbs. Our next step is going to be setting up our backdrop. I'm going super low tech on this and I'm just using my paint bottles to stabilize it. And what's important to do with your backdrop is to make sure that you're getting a curved corner between the upright back and the flat part on the desk. That way you don't actually have any sort of visible transition from the bottom to top in your backgrounds. It's just going to show up as smooth white or black or whatever color you're using. And then just go ahead and adjust your lighting so that your model is very well illuminated, not overly flooded, but you can see every detail from every angle. And again, make sure there are no harsh shadows. Now on to the actual photography. Most modern smartphones are going to have some kind of pro photo mode where you'll be able to adjust things like the ISO and the shutter speed and the white balance. If your phone does not have this feature, that's okay. Just using the standard camera feature should work all right. If you do have Pro mode, let me explain a little bit about what each of these settings do. So you can see right here that now that I have my model and the backdrop in frame, my screen is blindingly white. That means that I am getting way too much light into the camera lens. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the shutter speed. I'm adjusting my shutter speed to be faster, thereby letting in less light. You can see when I get it down to 1/750, all of that blinding light goes away. Everything is looking nicely in focus. That's what we want. The next setting that I'm going to talk about is ISO. I'm not an expert on the mechanics of what it is. It's just another measure of light sensitivity. And the reason that we adjusted the shutter speed instead of the ISO in order to get the brightness that we wanted is that adjusting the ISO can negatively impact the clarity of the image. Every camera has an ISO that it's essentially best at. Starting your ISO around 200 and then testing maybe one or two steps up or down from there is a good bet. But it's overall better to adjust the shutter speed, especially because a faster shutter speed is going to help you avoid blurry edges on the actual photo of the model. The last setting is going to be white balance. Which setting is going to be correct for you will depend on your light source, so you'll just have to experiment until all of the colors on your phone screen look true to life. Now we can go ahead and actually start snapping some photos. This is where you're going to start playing around with what angle you want to shoot the model from. Every model has what is called its golden angle, and that just means which angle it looks best from when being photographed. You may have an idea in your head right away of what angle that is, or you might have to experiment with. It's just something that you'll get a sense of once you actually do it. There are two ways that you can actually go about shooting the models. If you don't have a tripod that can fit your phone into it, you can just brace your hands against your desk or whatever you're using as a stand, and that'll work fine. I will show you in the final results that there is a quality benefit to using a tripod, but it's not 100% necessary. In addition to better quality photos, as you can see in the video here, the tripod is going to offer you a lot more flexibility in terms of positioning of the camera and fine-tunement for focusing. And the good news is you don't really need any kind of fancy tripod. Any old thing that you find cheap on the internet is probably more than adequate for this. These first three photos are from the set that I took when I was just bracing the camera with my hand against the desk. For such a janky setup, I think the photos came out pretty good. These last three were from when I was using the tripod, and there's definitely a noticeable increase in clarity of the pictures overall. And since I wasn't so focused on stabilization of my hands and keeping everything in focus, I was also able to notice that my white balance on the first round was a little bit off. And so I corrected it on the second round, and that makes these pictures look even better. I'll put these two side by side. On the left was from when I was hand stabilizing. On the right is when I had the tripod. And the only thing that is different between the two is that stabilization method and that little tweak that I did to the white balance on the second round. And you can see how big of a difference that makes. Well, that's it for this video, everyone. I hope this is going to help you take some great photos of your minis so that you can share them far and wide without fear. If you found this entertaining or informative, please like and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you on the tabletop.